recently about the Bears offense. And this is what Matt Nagy said. And he spoke with Kenneth Davis. I want to get this right on Under the Center podcast. This is what he said. I think it's what we've put together. Ryan Pace has done such an amazing job of building the last 3 years. This roster that we have, we've got a lot of depth. The time is now. We know that, and we're looking forward to it. So the question is, have they done enough offensively to move forward? Obviously, last year was a little bit of mess under center with Nick Foles and Mitch Trubisky trying to figure it out, okay? Tariq Cohen, one of their running backs, goes down with an ACL tear. They had new tight ends like Cole Kmet, and in his rookie year, he did okay, and I think that tight end group is going to be a lot better this year. I can give away my answer right now, but I'll let you go first in terms of, do you think the Bears have done enough offensively to take another step forward, which is absolutely necessary at this point for both Ryan Pace and Matt Nagy?
Well, yeah, I absolutely do. Right, and this is a playoff team from the year before. Another team going to get in the tournament this year. I think with their defense, they're always, going to be in the game. And you look at Tariq Cohen, people don't realize how important he was. Right, he's their Darren Sproles, he's their splash guy. He's their cheetah. Right, he's the guy that they get the ball in space and he makes explosive plays. And once you lose that out of your offense, you lose that 10 to 15 minutes that the opposing team has in practice where they have to prepare for his gadgets, for the different places that they're going to line him up. And with him coming back healthy, I think that's going to give them a lot of pop. And could you imagine him back there with Fields in some type of RPO / speed option type of scenario? I think it's going to really pay dividends for whoever's behind center. Eventually, I believe that's going to be Fields in the future.
I do too. I don't know. What I do know is Andy Dalton's going to start this season,
right.
Okay? And that's not going to change during training camp. As much as a lot of Chicago fans wanted to, it's not. Andy Dalton's probably going to start, my guess would be, the first 5 games of the season. How is he going to perform? That remains to be seen. In terms of doing enough around him and offensively, because in my opinion, Bart, it's going to be similar to last year with Mitch Trubisky. Andy Dalton's going to have a short leash. If things start going haywire and Fields looks ready enough, in you go, let's see what you got. I just don't think that Ryan Pace and Matt Nagy can insert him early on and have him fail, and then it's a failure on the entire franchise. Okay, so with that being said, obviously David Montgomery is going to be your premier back. You get Tariq Cohen back at some point from that ACL tear, and then they added to that running back stable through the draft and through free agency this year, and so you would think there's depth at that position. You get Allen Robinson under the franchise tag, so you have weapons there. The receiving core should be better. Again, adding depth there because you have Marquise Goodwin coming in, who we know is speed. The offensive line is where I get a little bit nervous. Right. There's 2 tried and true guys with James Daniels and Cody Whitehair. And then the other positions, obviously you added Tevin Jenkins in the draft. It remains to be seen. And so all this to say, yes, I think they've done enough this offseason to be better. But again, if you have Aaron Rodgers back in the NFC North and a very competitive NFC, I don't know. I don't know.
It depends on which Minnesota Vikings team is going to show up, which Kirk Cousins is going to show up. Is he going to be the Kirk Cousins that can play at an above average level? Can he be a top 15 quarterback? Because if they do that, you want to say that, maybe when you look at the Minnesota Vikings, they're better on paper. But it's going to come down to the quarterback position. And I think Fields gets in the middle of the season, and I think he's going to give them an infusion of youth.
Of course.
And just a whole total dimension to their offense. And with that defense, you can play complementary football, right? Because that defense is elite. That defense is going to be able to keep you in games. It's going to give you good field position. And I think, the different layers that Justin Fields adds to what their offense can be. And people, listen, Allen Robinson doesn't get the respect he deserves. We talk about most disrespected, stars in this league. I think Allen Robinson is one of them because what he's been able to do with just average play at the quarterback position, whether you want to go back to his days in Jacksonville or his experience in Chicago. He doesn't drop passes. He's elite, right? And when you do that, then you open up yourself to a guy like Godwin who can be able to stretch the field. It allows, Allen to be able to work those intermediate type of explosive plays 20 to 25 yards down the field.
True. I agree with you. Doesn't always get the respect that he deserves because the Bears offense has not been good. It is ranked towards bottom of the league. last year in almost every statistical category. Like, they have not been good. In terms of the defense and playing complementary football, like, yes, the defense, though, is a year older this year. And not to say they're old, because I believe there will not be one player above the age of 31 when the season starts, at least starting on the defensive side of the ball. And so when Matt Nagy says the time is now, because 2 years ago you had a top 10 defense and it went completely wasted because of a double doink in the playoffs, and then last year was a complete mess. And so, yes, the time is now if you want to have both sides of the ball be strong.
It is scar tissue there with your fandom. It is some little scar tissue right there.
Sorry, my Chicago is showing. Let me tuck that back in.
You're locked and loaded. I mean, but for Pace and Nagy, listen, this is put up or shut up, right? You want to think that the draft and the fact that Fields was able to drop to them after they had put all their eggs in one basket, that was Deshaun Watson or Russell Wilson. They have to put up or shut up, because they won't be back, and it'll be a quick rebuild with a young franchise quarterback that we don't know, that's going to go into his second year potentially and have to learn a whole new system and figure out the game all at the same time. So Nagy is playing for or coaching for his career, or his coaching career, at least in Chicago. And Nagy is definitely on deck too. If they didn't get Fields, I would think they would have been let go after the draft.
Yeah, I think Fields buys them some time.
Right.
When you have a rookie quarterback, normally you don't expect them to be great in year one. Usually it gives them a little bit of time. If I look at the schedule, Fields, there's a bye week for the Bears week 10. I think he goes in week 5, though, against the Raiders. That would be my guess, because I think the first 4 or 5 games give him a time to see some things under Andy Dalton. Okay, here's a poll that I've seen. Nearly 2,000 Bears followers took part in a survey. And they were asked, do you trust Matt Nagy and the Bears staff to have the right plan for Justin Fields? And you can see the schedule if you're watching on TV right now. And again, I said week 10 is when the bye week is, and I think it happens probably prior to the bye week. Nonetheless, so the question, do you trust Matt Nagy and the Bears to have the right plan for Justin Fields? 41.5% people said yes. 33.7% people said not sure. 24.8% said no. So not even half the amount of fans that were surveyed here said yes. That's a little bit concerning. The other thing that people like to point out is we haven't seen Matt Nagy develop a quarterback yet. Okay, can we just talk about what he was given? He was given Mitch Trubisky, who had already been in their system and had to learn everything brand new. And what he pegged himself as a very complicated system. So cut him some slack. And Nick Foles, okay, not a starter. He's just not a starter in the National Football League.
Outside of Philadelphia, that's the only place he can play well.
Yeah, but even then, he's got to come off the bench to play well.
Yeah.
Yeah, build him a statue, too. We were building statues yesterday. Build one for him in Philly. Nonetheless, the Bears have a lot of work to do, especially on the offensive side of the ball. So we'll see what happens this year. The NHL expansion draft is tomorrow, and the NHL has one rule that we all love. So we will adopt that and have our draft, but with NFL players. Our GM is here next, and Bart will try and beat him at building a team. Excuse me, I'm also going to try and beat him at building a team. About. Thank you. That's next after Bart is this from Goodyear.
Every move we make pushes us forward.